couple of months ago I saw on Pinterest, I think it was, this really nice horse head, just like this one, and I thought I'd love to have a go at that, but there was no information, so that was it. Didn't think anything more of it. Then a couple of weeks ago I was scanning through my Instagram account to see who's followed me, and I always like to have a little look through to see people's pictures and videos. So I was scanning through this guy's account and checking out his photos and videos to see whether, you know, I wanted to follow him back. And then all of a sudden up popped the photo. So I clicked on it. Turns out this is the chap that designed it and built it. So I had a look. There was a lot more information. It says there's patterns available and a short video to show how to put it together. So bash, I was straight there to his Etsy account, found the horse head, clicked on it, paid my money and downloaded it. Now it's really simple and straightforward. All these links that I'm giving you I will put in the description, so don't panic about that. This is what you get: PDF, nicely laid out designs. You can see exactly what's what you need. If you go to print and then click down on poster, it will show you exactly how many pieces of A4 you need if you're using A4. In this case it was 15. So I checked everything was okay, click print, and it spewed out 15 sheets of what essentially is a huge jigsaw puzzle. So I sat down with a roll of tape and a few minutes jiggling about. This is what you end up with. Now I couldn't or didn't print mine borderless because I didn't realise I needed to, and so I've had to pencil over where the joins are, but that's no biggie. It's, as you can see, fair size. It says here on the corner exactly how many pieces you need to duplicate, because you need to replicate left and right side of the face, and it also tells you about the parts that need to be joined together, which you can do before you cut the patterns. So you cut one piece, or you can cut them individually and then join them all together. I've labelled how many bits I need of each, and I'm probably going to send them off to the laser cutters just purely because I just want to get on with the build. I'd rather not be sitting down trying to cut out God knows how many parts by hand. Once we've got them cut, I'll head over to the workshop and start putting it together. So, as if by magic, the parts have arrived. I did send them off to the laser cutters in the end, and I'm glad I did, because looking at them, they're quite complicated to cut out by hand, and like I said before, I want this video to be about the putting together of this, not the cutting out and the fiddling about getting the parts together. One or two of them aren't 100%, but it's only a few mil, and that's down to me. It's not the laser cutters. The laser cutters have done a brilliant job as usual. I think it's down to the software I use to convert the PDF into CAD files. You have to sort of, it brings up lots of different lines, and you have to take out the ones you think you don't need, and I've obviously taken out some that should have stayed, like that one there. It's a little bit short. The one above it is a little bit short. The ones that need to be joined together I might add a bit on, because they may well need to be pretty accurate, but that's no biggie. So I'm looking forward to getting this started. I've watched the video of how to put it together a couple of times. I think I need to watch it a few more times, and then we can get cracking. So let's get on with it. We've got all the bits. They look a little bit random. I've joined the three that need joining together, and this is the first part to start on. So I've got to put some shape in both sides of this. I'm not exactly sure how much, but as I say, I've watched the video a few times and I'm just going to wing it, because this is my usual story. You get to see my first attempt, so if it all goes the shape of the pear, then you get to see it first. So I'm just using a rubber mallet, because I don't want to put any real dents and damage in the material. And you see I've sort of giving it a bit of shape both ways, just using the hardy hole there to put a bit more in. I have got a better hammer, but I can't find the damn thing. It's harder. I don't have to hit it so hard. This one's a bit soft. It really is a rubber mallet, this one. This CR4 2mm plate is really good. Alright, I've done both of them. What I've got to do is get those edges, if it would focus, to line up, and they're not too bad at the moment. That's pretty good. A little bit much on this end closest to you. Just take that out a little bit. But yeah, as I say, this CR4 2mm plate, brilliant stuff. It's quite tough. It's thick enough that if you get big gaps you can fill it up with weld easy enough without blowing holes in it. And it's soft enough that you can sort of form it quite easily. Plus you've got the added advantage there's no scale, so when you clean it all up you haven't got to worry about scale coming off it. We're nearly there, I think. Just going to give that little corner a bit more of a dibble. Same with that one. Let's see what happens. As I say, this is a first attempt as usual with all of my projects. You get to see the first go. Right, I've measured across this next piece, this bit, which has actually got to go in the bottom there. So I'm guessing that that's really the width I need it to be. So I've sort of just roughed it out, and I'm going to try and tack it together. It's really not easy to hold and tack. I'm trying to do it corner to corner. Throughout the whole job I will be trying to do it corner to corner. Whether that actually happens or not, I don't know. But before we weld it all up, we'll run the grinder around it and just take off any excess bits that we don't need. It's really, those magnets do help quite a lot. But the angle isn't 45 and it's not 90 or anything like that, so it's difficult to get it on the magnet. Let's put a few spots on. One more for luck. Alright, there you go. That's sort of about right, I think. Although that right hand one, as you look at it, needs pulling out a bit more. So that's a bit wide according to my measurements, so I'm just going to pull that in. Yeah, that's somewhere near. So now what we've got to do, apart from trying to straighten them up or get them the same, which again, as I say, I think is this way. It needs a bit more shape in the side there to get them the same. Alright, this bit again needs a little bit of shape because that's got to go in the bottom there. So that's got to have just a little bit of a radius, I suppose you'd call it, a little bit of shape there. That shape there. It's not a lot. In fact, it's very little. But I'm just going to try and whack it in. I'm using. Oh, I think I just said that I'm using the rubber mallet because I don't want to put any real dings and dents in it. Although this stuff's fairly forgiving. And that's quite a good place to bend stuff as well, under the bench. You can see that my top sheet of steel isn't particularly well fastened down. Although it is bolted through the wood, but I think the bolts must have come a bit loose over the years. Right, it's got just a little bit of shape in there. Hoping that'll be enough. And put it in the right way around, Gary. That's it, that way around. And then again, you can see the sides will need a bit of shape, but I can hopefully push them in by hand. So I'm just going to start off at this top corner and work my way down. I really don't know how Joshua designed this to split it up into little bits like this jigsaw is. I really don't know. I really ought to try and have a conversation with him and find out. But it's an amazing bit of kit, the way he's done it. See, that's pretty good there. I've just got to pull them in at the sides there, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a whack. And then I shall get my magnets on the table. And no, first of all I'm going to try and get that top piece in. Get a little screwdriver and just open that up a little bit so that that top edge will just pop inside. That's got it, I think. Alright, use these magnets. They're good little bits of kit. Again, these magnets, they're tiny, but they're very, very strong for the size of them. And you switch them on and off, so they're brilliant for picking swarf up off the floor. If you've done a lot of grinding, you can just turn one of them on and it picks a whole lot up off the floor. You go over to your waste bin, turn it off and it dumps it all in. Absolutely cracking bits of kit. Mag switches they're called. Alright, that's one side. See if we can do the same with the other. I'm going to put all the links to Joshua's website, his YouTube channel, his Etsy site, probably even his Instagram account, and all the tools and bits and pieces I'm using. It'll all be in the description. So have a look, go and check Joshua out. He's got some great stuff on his site, and he's worth a sub because he's a very talented man. Go and watch a few of his creations being what's the word? Coming to life in front of your eyes. Yeah, there you go, mag switch. That's a 45 and 90, I think, that one, the little tiddly one. These ones are, I'm not quite sure what poundage they've got, but I'll tell you what, you'd have a job to pull one straight off the bench when it's switched on. In fact, you can slide them off, but you can't pull them straight up, even though how tiny they are. They're great for tacking jobs up. Of course, I'm all fingers and thumbs, can't get the blooming things switched on. That's better. I could do with some of the bigger ones, but they're quite expensive. Oh. Alright, there you go. Let's got that in. Right, so that is about right for the first part. You might notice if you've watched the original video on Joshua's site, he's had a piece going right up to the end. I don't quite know why he changed it on this one. Anyway, day 2. So I'm doing this in dribs and drabs. So we got that far on the first day. Now I'm going to tackle this job, and this is daunting. Because when you look at it you think, where the hell is this lot going? And again, if you look at the original video, this little end bit wasn't there, and apparently I spoke to Joshua about it and he said it was added because people didn't like the way the nostril ended, so he's added it. But it's confusing me. Anyway, that's this bit, this little piece here has got to fit in there somehow, but this has also got to have shape in it. in both directions. So I'm just going to put the first bit of bend in with my bender. Don't have to use the bender, I'm just using it because it's convenient. I've got it. Because the first bit has to be quite steep and quite short. That's got to go up to the cheek. So I'm just trying to get the worst of it in. Again, without putting too many creases in it and real fold marks. I want it to sort of flow. Now that I think is a bit long. I think it needs to be a bit shorter, so I might have to knock that out and shorten it. You can see there, it really needs to be a little bit shorter. But it also needs to be bent the other way as well. So I'm just going to... There's so many ways you could do this. You could put it in the vise, you could hammer it over a piece of wood that, as Joshua suggests in his video, a piece of wood with a V in it. Whatever you feel is comfortable for you. Again, I say I don't want to put too many creases in it. You know, if you've got a little folder, you could do it with that. That's it. Now it needs to go the other way. So I've pulled it the other way, got that sorted. Now this is the sort of tricky bit. I haven't really shown you this very well. What I've done, I've put a chalk mark where the first bend is on this piece, and it's really quite confusing, and I'm not showing you very well how it's got to go, but it will become apparent, so bear with me. I'm trying to work it out myself in my mind here. I don't even know which way up it's supposed to go. It would help if I put it in the camera. So you've got to go in several directions. So all I'm doing is putting a little chalk mark at each bend and then just pulling it by hand in the vise. I'm being too lazy to keep moving the camera to show you that I'm making the chalk mark, but trust me, it's all I'm doing is holding it up against it and putting a chalk mark where it needs to bend. And again, the bends, it's a bit hit and miss. It's do it a bit at what the angle you think it's going to be, and if it's not, you'll have to take it out and do it again. Now this isn't 100% right, but I thought, sod it, I've been pulling it and pushing it and bending it. I'm just going to start it where it fits and then get it to fit as I'm going. It's just a case of sort of pushing and pulling and twisting and again trying to get it edge to edge or corner to corner. So it's a lot of fiddling about and lots of use of sticking out of tongue. And so this stuff is, it's just malleable enough that you can force it where it needs to go quite easily. A pair of pliers often helps just to get it exactly where you want it, and sometimes you have to pull it over, put a spot of weld and then pull it back again and then pull it forward again, which is what I'm doing here, just to try and get it to conform. And this isn't going at 90 degrees. This is what's so confusing. It's going at an angle, and it's not a 45. It's not it's sort of a different angle on every bend. It's really quite confusing. I'm not into sheet metal work. I don't do an awful lot of it, so it's coming quite hard to me. But you know, I'm keeping at it. And I dare say that once we get it done, like that bit, that looks like it's done, it's still not going to be right when we come to put it all together finally. But big hammer, a block of wood or a dolly will often work wonders. Now this is the next bit. This goes down to the nose, or to the nostrils, at the bottom of the cheek, and as you can see that needs some shape putting into it as well. I'm just going to try and put a little bit in on the vise here, because it's always quite subtle, the amount of bend you need to put in it. See, already I've only put a tiny little bit in, and that's better already. But it's still going to need a bit more. And then this is the actual sort of cheek. That's got to go on there. That goes on that the sharp upturn, and then it also connects with this. So you've got to try and get the three sides all to match up. It's literally a case of trial and error. Just keep fiddling about with it, seeing where it touches, where it doesn't, putting a little bit more shape in, taking a little bit of shape out. And as I say, if I was more au fait with sheet metal working, it would probably go a lot quicker, but I ain't, so it's not. You see, that's a bit better, but the very point, something not right there. That needs a little bit of fiddling about with, I think. And again, I don't know how accurate my interpretation of the original drawings were. As you saw at the beginning, when I got the laser cut pieces, they weren't 100% accurate to the drawing. So some of this could be down to that. And again, it's not down to Joshua and his drawings, it's down to me, the way I converted them for laser cutting. I do know that Joshua that is going to produce some plans that you can get laser cut at some stage. When, I don't know. But I just wanted to do it now, just for my own quick convenience. And that looks pretty good. We're almost there, I think. We'll stick this one on the cheek. Give that a little blast. And then we'll try and get that bit to fit on both planes. I say, it's really incredible how he designed this. You know, how the hell would you start with a horse's head and then try and cut it into pieces, or I don't know, how the hell would you do it? You know, is there some sort of a wonderful magical program that splits things up into this sort of thing? I don't know. It's good on him, whatever it is. It's cool. And I understand he's trying to do some other animal heads at the moment he's working on. So I shall be keeping a close eye on his site, because if this one works out, I may well be popping over to get some more plans. I rather like this idea. It's that very point. I just can't. I'm hitting it too much one way or not enough the other way. But that's it. I'm going to call it a day at that. My welder will play. Again, just a few spots. I'm hoping I don't have to take any of this apart, because I've got it wrong. But I'm thinking that if all the edges line up without too much aggro, then it can't be far out. You know, I might need to put a little bit more shape in here and there, but I'm hoping that, as I say, with a lump of wood and a hammer, I might be able to do that once it's all tacked up. I really don't want to have to start taking things apart. But as I say, this is my first one, so once I've done this, if it all does go, you know, a bit peculiar, I'll learn for next time. So next time I'll be able to do it without all the fiddle arsing about. I'll know the wrinkles, as they say. I'm just going to move this back a little bit, because I'm going to pull this next part round. And again, this bit I'm trying to pull it to isn't at 90 degrees. It's not like it's 90 degrees, 45 degrees or whatever. It's I don't. It's really weird. It sort of conforms as you start to pull it. See, like here, I'm just starting to pull it round, and it's just now starting to not want to go where I want it to go, and it's breaking the worlds as I'm trying to force it to go where it doesn't want to go. And this is where I suddenly realise that I've actually been using this on like 0.6mm steel, so I've just switched the camera off and switched it back on because I've been and turned it up. I was using on some, oh, and it's broken again. I think I haven't actually turned it up. I just leant over and did it by feel. I think I've turned it down, so I'm just going to go and check. Yep, I turned it down instead of up. That's better. We've got some juice on it now. Yeah, as I say, I was using it on some 0.6mm steel, making some jugs, and I hadn't bothered to turn it back up. But even so, it's still breaking some of these tacks because it just doesn't want to go where I want it to go. But it will. I think ideally I should have put this over a lump of wood and forced it round. As I say, it's a learning curve. Right, I've had an interruption. Someone's come to the door. So half an hour later, we're back at it. And again, I'm just trying to force it to where it doesn't want to go. This, oh, there's a spot of weld there. That spike needs to be modified. Oh, and again, it's broken a tack. It really is. What's the word? It doesn't want to go. That isn't the word I was looking for, but it doesn't want to go. But I'm going to force it. And then what I shall probably do is turn it upside down on the anvil and give it a bit of a hammer to make sure it all goes where I want it. But right, this corner here, this little thing, has got to come out towards me. Sort of up this way. And that goes somewhere around the ear, I think. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a tap on the anvil, like so. And then this piece needs bowing. It needs a bit of a depression put in it. Now this bit here, I don't know if that's fault of the way I've done my plans or whether that's designed like that, but once this is shaped, this corner will come down here. It will still overlap, and again I don't know if that's designed like that or whether it's the way that my plans have come out. Either way, it doesn't matter, it works. I might have to fill it in with a bit of weld and then grind it off, but at least it fits. It's not, it'd be worse if I suddenly realised there was a bloody great gap there. So let's put a bit of a shape in its eye now. You can just about see. So we're going to put the eyepiece in, which is that little bit. It fits in there quite nicely. So again, as I say, it might sort of, the way I've done it can't be that far out if it all fits. Once this is all welded, fully welded and ground up, you can get away with all sorts. A bit more weld and a bit more grinding. If you've got a bit of a dip or a, something not quite right. Now this is the bit here that's sort of confusing me. Well, not really confusing me. It's too big a piece, I think, for it to have been not on the plans. I think my plans weren't that far out, so I've got a feeling it might be in the design. But as I say, it doesn't matter either way. It all fits in there. A bit of welding, a bit of grinding will sort that out at the end. So, I've saved you the agony of doing the second one. I've done the second one. So we've now got two almost the same halves, which need to slip over the first piece we did, and then they will get attached via the back piece. I know it sounds a bit iffy, but it will all become apparent. I was surprised how much it does become apparent once you start bending and folding and putting it all together. You know, as I say, it has been very well designed, so it is fairly self-explanatory. Although I'm not quite sure what will happen when we get to the ears, because they need quite a bit of sort of folding and twisting. And again, the nostrils, I'm still confused by the nostrils, but once we get there, I'm hoping it will become fairly apparent. One way or another we'll get over it. Again, you know, if you spent a bit more time originally, you could probably put a bit more shape in this, but this material's quite forgiving. You can force it. I know I say the same things over and over again, but I don't like you to have too many silences. Like that one. You can see where I'm going with this. My welder playing up again. It keeps sticking, I don't quite know why. Again, trying to keep it corner to corner or edge to edge, rather than sort of overlapping or anything like that. And then when we get right up almost by the ear, we've got to have a little dip. So I'm just going to put a spot right by the where it needs to dip, and then get the pliers on it. It's got a bit of needs a bit of shape there. So again, I'm going to overbend it. Put a spot where I think the end of it's going to be, and bend it back again. And you can see where we're going. We're getting there. It's coming on, and I'm remarkably impressed. I really am. You know, for someone like me who doesn't do sheet metal work, I haven't had that many problems. I'm just going to speed you up through this bit because it's exactly the same as the other side. So I'm just going to get you through it a bit quicker. There we are at that bit again. Right, so there we go. We're sort of on the way. I'm pretty sure it's looking like it should do. Again, I'm a bit worried about the nostrils, but say I'm sure they'll come together at the end. This bit now is the next piece to put in. The three bits that were welded together. I'm going to start at the bottom here because that actually fits, and then work my way up. I think we're going to need a lot of hammering and squeezing and pushing, but we'll get there.